All right, so I'm going to cut off questions there so that we have some time for Toby.
Hi, I'm Toby Leonard. I'm running for mayor of Mankato, and I decided not to write a speech or anything. I decided to just come up here and wing it. Let's start with the first part is I'm not asking for 2,000 signatures. I'm not asking for 500 signatures. The number I'm looking at is 135 days. In 135 days is the primary election. For city offices, only 2 people are allowed on the ballot in November. So in August, there will be a primary. That is when I need to get in the top 2 vote getters. That will put me on the ballot for November. Now, you might go, wow, that's pretty impressive. 2 cycles ago, I got 10% of the vote. I was the 3rd. No problem. Last election, I got 30% of the vote. Okay, technical detail, 29.6. I'm rounding up. So sue me, all right? It's 30%, 29.6. I'm going to count that as 30%. And that was actually really good. We have a very well-liked mayor, and it turns out the Democrat Party hates me. I own a gun shop. There is no way the heavy blue population of Mankato is going to overlook the gun shop and not throw that in my face at every step. So as I'm looking at this to become mayor, one of the biggest things is the city of Mankato has a whole bunch of things going on that's actually kind of moving in a direction I do not want to see it move in. For starters, AI. The city council is pushing very heavily for the city to implement an AI system over and above Flock, and in addition to installing Flock cameras. They've instituted, I think there's 2,000 cameras now in the city, and they're trying to do an AI to track those all. And when the city police chief goes what he's going to use it for, he's saying he's not going to track people, he's just tracking vehicles. And then about 2 minutes later, he describes how the AI works. If they see a fight downtown and they're looking for a man with a red shirt, they can search for a man with a red shirt. I don't know how many vehicles suddenly became men with red shirts. The city police are definitely not looking out for the interests of the civilians and not looking out for anybody's privacy. Mankato, also the city police, are the leading municipality in the state with the absolute most red flag orders issued. For those people who don't know, this is just where the police wake up one day and go, we want to abuse somebody, so we're going to red flag them. Does not require any actual evidence. They just go in, take people's guns, and also it comes with a free search warrant. Us privacy advocates really should be fighting against red flag orders anyways, and the city seems to have jumped on these as a great idea. I'd like to put a kibosh on that really quickly. Some of the things that also pop up in Mankato, budget. The city council is very proud. They have a $155 million budget every year. For those people who do the math, 46,000 residents in Mankato, that works out to be $3,370 per person. If you want to get really picky, because I'm rounding, it's $3,369.56. I'm rounding up to $3,370, all right? My rounding is not outrageous. But part of the question I have is, are you getting your $3,000 worth? I know you're not residents of Mankato, but my question should be is when I'm talking with a resident, are they getting their $3,370 worth of services from the government? Where's that money going? Is it being wasted? What's it being used for? Would you support it? Main question we should be sitting there going is, should you fear the town or city government? Should you actually wake up in the morning and go, wow, did I pull my garbage can in before 6 p.m. on garbage pickup day? Or am I going to get a ticket? Those are things that should not be going through your brain. What should be going through your brain is, I kind of like living here. I'm calm, and I like my neighbors, and I like being nice to them. So that is my purpose is to limit the city government, limit some of the privacy movements that they're going to. This AI camera thing, the city council had a meeting to expand it. the protesters were so extreme, they had to shut the meeting down. The police chief announced that if they continue to protest, they will clear the room. They had to actually shut the police chief down on that one. And then they had to go and take a recess, come back and go, we are not going to expand it at this time. We'll revisit it later when the protesters aren't around. So when I'm looking at this, my goal is a couple things, is limit the government, try to get rid of that AI system, because there's no reason you should worry about being tracked all the time. And also, one of the other things I want to push for is sunset clauses on all the city ordinances. There's out-of-date stuff that just needs to die. We might as well put a sunset clause in every ordinance so that we can move them. If the ordinance is still valid, we can renew it or repeal it. Just keep things updated. So, Toby Leonard, running for Mankato Mayor. You can check me out on my website, www.mankatomayor.com.
Any questions for Toby? Please come forward. All right, we'll let Brian go first.
Could you just talk about tax abatements in maybe Region 9, if you've heard of Region 9, which is actually out of Mankato? Some people don't know about it. If you could expand on either of those.
I'm not very familiar with the tax abatements out of Region 9, but I have noticed that quite a bit within the city, particularly the city council, there's currently a kind of bit brouhaha right now because the city bureaucrats are actually making decisions and dropping fees and stuff for construction. Also, they're offering great big tax breaks. And as I mentioned this, one thing I do want to mention is Mankato has some of the highest rents in Minnesota. It's absurd. And the reason is because of a rental licensing process. It actually collects money from all the landlords, a percentage, and if you do a new development, you either have to put in 10% of them low-income housing or pay an additional 10% to the city. And then they build other housing with it, and the rents just get higher. So that's some of the things that are going on there. And my goal is to get the city out of the rent license process. Let the private landowners take care of that.
I'll just share the story, but we have a friend that was harassed by the city of Mankato because he had too many dandelions in his lawn. I just want you to know it was harassment, and it wouldn't stop it. Too many dandelions.
I 100% believe that. I have to agree that, yes, harassment is the term. If somebody complains, they will harass you continuously. It is not unusual for me to be sitting there, say, in the community garden, just gardening, right? And look out across the parking lot and go, hey, Judy, did you know that cop is running your license plate where it's just sitting there in a school parking lot? Why? Because they got a call for a red pickup truck with two guys in it, and they saw her gray SUV and figured to run those plates. Just near constant. The harassment is not out of the question. It is, that is actually why the sunset clause. So we'll just mention these dandelions for a second. I got ticketed for having tall grass. November 17th. Yeah, I got ticketed. I was told, yep, one, you're going to get ticketed for $60 for this, and two, you have to mow it within 2 weeks. No, too late. If it comes in, it can, well, you can put it out too early. Oh, I got in trouble for having like a little wire fence around my garden, garbage cans to keep them from blowing away in the wind. So yes, this is near constant stuff. Let's see, I got an email because I put some steel posts from my garden in the recycling bin. So I guess steel isn't recycling there. That actually happened last week. No, I'm not that big of a troublemaker. Oh gosh, I break, well. So yes, it is. Oh yeah, so yes, dandelions in your yard. Right now we're actually going into spring. We've got one department of the city that is telling you that you should have no mow May to allow the honeybees. We have another part of the city that authorizes you to have native prairie grasses. You pay a fee, you have a city engineer authorize it. You have another part of the city that's running around ticketing you for having grass longer than a foot. It's got 3 different organizations working against each other, and we're all paying for it. And it's based purely upon who's complained lately. One of the tow truck drivers actually had a multi-year issue with the police because they were driving by his house every couple hours to ticket him if he had a tow truck in his driveway. Why? Because he gets an emergency call at night, he hops in his truck, goes, deals with it. But he had talked out against the city and the police a few times, and that's why they're harassing him repeatedly. It took a few years, and then the lawsuits finally ended when the city attorney said, you know, if he wins these, we might have to actually pay his legal fees. So they dropped everything. So there's a lot to be done to clean up the city. I would like the chance. And the biggest way I could probably do it is let's just shrink the government so they don't have somebody come out and ticket you for dandelions. Oh, I could just go on and on. It's just harassment is the word. The red flag laws are clear harassment. Mainly it's the people who get those generally tend to speak out against the police. So, but I'm out of time. We've got to move on. But thank you. And also, you know what? Epstein still did not kill himself.